Well, welcome to our awesome health talk tonight about holidaying like a ninja. And so we are so glad that you joined us on this Tuesday night and you're hanging out with us as we are all just a very diverse group of women coming to present to you tonight with very different backgrounds. And the one thing that we do have in common, besides our gear, we have a similar mission and a similar passion for health, and we have such a great respect for each other. So we're super excited to holiday like ninjas with you tonight and hopefully share a few tips that you can take with you through Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and everything in between. So why is it important for us to take, all of this into our holiday season and really make this year, 2016 going into 2017, the best one yet? Well, here's something that we know for sure. And I know this is going to be a little bit of Debbie Downer, but we have to kind of like the army. We got to break you down before we build you back up, right? So did you know that the average American gains 1 to 2 pounds during the holiday season? And that doesn't sound like a whole lot, yet here's the deal, y'all. Habits are created, and the emotion around gaining that weight and the emotion around picking up those maybe not so good habits can be really tough to bounce back. And one thing we know too, this is like a huge statistic when I looked it up, 45% of Americans dread this festive season. I don't know who could dread wearing these ears or Christmas trees on their heads, but evidently 45% of Americans absolutely dread the holiday season. And that leads into holiday blues and depression. And we all know what happens when depression sets in. We make poor choices when it comes to our sleep, when it comes to our food, and certainly when it comes to exercise. And another thing that we know about these awesome holidays that are coming up, they create some financial stress. And what happens when you're under financial stress? Sometimes we do some stress eating. Anybody like amen out there? So here's one thing we know for certain. We know that we sleep less, we exercise less, we eat more and more unhealthy foods, we drink way less water than we should, and we're more on the go than normal. And so all of this increases our stress load, and guess what? We feel bad and we get sick. So with all of this in mind, this is why we need to talk about some very easy tips that will help get us started on the best path. And so we're going to start with the easiest one that I know, and that is water. So the first rule of thumb would be to drink it. How about that? So drink more water. This is my big water bottle right here, my One Simple Change water bottle. And I know if I fill this bad boy up every single morning and I remember to just drink it all the way to the bottom, I'm doing a pretty good job. But if I can refill that thing back up and drink a little bit more, I'm doing even better. And the awesome thing is I can add in some fruit or some yummy little flavor packets. I don't know if you can see these. This is called like True Lemon, and it's a good, healthy alternative to just plain old water. So once we get our water down, then we can go into our next awesome tip, and that has to do with some awesome whole foods. So Ninja Becky, who's from Connecticut, is going to share with us awesome tips. And I love your hat, Becky.
Hey,
It's definitely awesome.
Don't forget about Thanksgiving here.
Oh, wait a second.
I'm going to represent all the holidays.
Is that a real turkey?
This is totally real turkey. It took me a little while to carve it out.
It's impressive.
Get it on there.
Love it.
We're all about the real stuff.
Congrats.
Oh, man. Well, guys, I love that tip about water. Thanks for sharing, Krista. Those are really helpful statistics and like really eye-opening about what happens during the holidays to us and to our friends. So, and I love that we have this positive support group to be able to encourage each other during this time. So I'm supposed to share about food. That is something I absolutely love. I'm a total foodie. And what typically do we have at like our family holiday dinners? Yeah, casseroles. Did everyone say casseroles and mashed potatoes? Because that's like always there. I don't know. Maybe it's just a New England thing. We have a lot of casseroles. Okay, it's a Midwest thing too. Again, okay. So one simple tip that I've started instituting with my family is we swap out one casserole. Either we remove some of the sugar, from it and try to do a healthy sweetener alternative, or even we used to add a lot of sugar to our sweet potato casserole. Like my sweet potato casserole called for a lot of more sugar added to it. And totally mine also, guys. But we used to add a lot of sugar. And so I realized sweet potatoes are pretty sweet. So we cut out that sugar and they're still awesome. So even just cutting back on what you want to reduce. We swapped out, instead of using whole milk when we're making casseroles, I'll use coconut milk, or some people use almond milk. Those are great little swaps, so everyone can still enjoy their casseroles. And trying to use some of fresh ingredients instead of canned or frozen. If you can use frozen, that's awesome. So those are some simple swaps in the casserole category. Another favorite is our sweet potatoes. We love our sweet potatoes. I mean, our mashed potatoes, our regular ones. And one thing I started doing to add a little more nutrition, because we're sneaky ninjas, is I've been adding a little bit of cauliflower to our mashed potatoes. And over time, you can get a whole head of this stuff in, and you're just easing it into everyone's taste buds. Some people completely switch over and do mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes, which is great if your family's going to accept that. But even doing half cauliflower in, and what I do is I just, boiling the potatoes right towards the end when they're done boiling, throw in the chopped cauliflower right on top of those boiled potatoes, and then you can just mash it all together. And it's really, really quick to do. So those are some tips I have there. And then try a roasted vegetable instead of a casserole. We did colored carrots, multicolored carrots this past year, and just cut them lengthwise, and they were so pretty, and it felt like Martha Stewart, and people ate them, which was really cool. And have a fresh salad, because we want to have more raw food. That's one thing that's really lacking for us, at least at our Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners, is fresh raw, and we want to get as much of that in our diet as possible every day, even on Thanksgiving and Christmas and any other family parties. So have that big salad, and encourage yourself and your kids to have a little bit of that salad at least on your plate. Get some greens on your plate, get lots of natural food colors on that plate, and you're gonna feel a whole lot better that whole holiday season. So that's what I have for you. And what else should we do? We're gonna do some party tips now. So we're gonna go around and share some of our tips that we have for partying during the holidays. So I'm going to share one of my tips with you. Is I like to make one of these little shakes here before I go to a party. This is something I drink every single day, and it helps stabilize my blood sugar, slays the sugar beast, because that thing keeps coming up when you try little desserts everywhere. But this is my willpower that I drink, and that keeps it back under control, and keeps me from eating more of that sweet deliciousness when I'm home by myself too. So that is my party tip. I like to have a shake before I go, and it helps me be in a little better perspective with food and take little bits and enjoy still, but not eat it like a ton of it. Who's next? Who wants to share their next party tip?
Becky, I'll go. One of my favorite things to do is, obviously when you're going to a party, take something that you know that you will eat and that you like to eat. And I saw the cutest thing. I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. It was a veggie tray, and it was in the shape of a Christmas tree. So the broccoli was the actual tree, and then you had the ornaments of carrots, tomatoes, all kinds of fun things. So my tip is take a really cool looking veggie tray, because you know you're going to get your raw veggies that way. All right. Who's next?
I can go. So one of my favorite tips, and this is something I use with my health coaching clients, is always eat off a plate when you go to a party. And it sounds simple enough, but, I have these little appetizer size. And so if you're going back to the buffet 5, 6, 10 times, you probably won't do that. So make sure you're eating off a little plate. And that way also you kind of limit yourself to what's on there so you don't scoop up tons and tons. A lot of times at parties, it's a lot of finger foods. And so it's a great way to just kind of control your portions. You see what you're eating. And I do the same thing at home, because if I were to bring a bag of chips and sit in front of the computer while I work, oh my gosh, the whole thing would be gone. So, I'm always trying to teach my kids, like, if you want a snack, we take it out of the pantry, we put it in a bowl, we put it on a little plate, and then you can take it to the table or wherever you're going. But we never eat out of a bag or a box or anything like that. We always put something on a plate.
That's awesome. I can go next. So a lot of these tips that have been shared are things that I do as well. Number one is definitely taking something that you think that, or that that you can eat. For me, a lot of the time am gluten and dairy free. And what do we see a lot when we go to these parties? They're dips that are full of dairy, crackers, things like that. So taking the fresh veggies, a fruit tray, they have those awesome edible arrangements now that make the fruit super pretty and like a floral bouquet. That's always a great hostess gift to take. But definitely always have my shake to start the day. And then I also will sometimes just eat dinner before I go to a party like that. So I don't even have to survive on the buffet.
That's a good tip. Good tip. What about you, Allison? What do you like to do?
Well, last year, we just had kind of a crazy social scene in the holidays, like all the way from right after Halloween through almost the Super Bowl. And it was crazy. And so one of the things I like to think about is not necessarily like how to take care of like the party aspect when I'm at the party, but also what I'm doing in between the parties. Because I know a lot of us, we're all like social people and we have a lot of fun, and that's a really like busy season. And if you have small kids, like there's a lot of like programs, and you're trying to see the lights, or you're trying to get out the door to the next thing that you need to go to. So I like to kind of like prep for parties in between the parties. And one of the ways that I meal plan when we're in between kind of those bigger events in our schedule, and sometimes that's 3 or 4 a week. So when I am not at a party, I like to stick to the S's. And what I mean by that is something that we're going to touch on a little bit later, something called a shred, which is kind of like a little bit more formal accountability program that we kind of like to do in between holidays, just to kind of keep it a little bit cleaner. But in between parties, I like to stick to these 3 S's: soups, salads, and smoothies. So if I'm eating a soup, a salad, or a smoothie, chances are I'm going to be eating pretty clean and pretty on point with some of my other wellness goals. And so I love to just think about those 3 S's anytime I'm not at a party, especially when you got one of those crazy weeks that's like boom, 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 or a weekend where there's like 2 or 3 events in one weekend. So anytime I'm not at the party, I'm eating a shake or a smoothie, a salad, or a soup.
Yay. I'm having fun over here doing the play-by-play. I feel like a sports person. Well, I actually am going to talk a little bit about mindfulness, because there's so much more to a party than eating, right? So before you go into a party, I want you to think about 3 people that you might want to connect with, or making 3 new friends. I think that it's so important for us, especially when we're trying to follow all these tips that we've gotten already, to really focus on the people around us through this season. That's what it's all about, a lot of it. So focus on making 3 new friends every party you go to, or connecting with 3 people that you just really love. Back to you. I think it's Leslie. Am I right?
Yes, I'm going. So, as we're talking about what we're doing in between the parties, as a personal trainer, it became very obvious that I should probably talk about exercise tonight. And so we know exercise is important for us. And just like fruits and vegetables, we probably don't get enough of it, right? And when most people think about exercise, they think about doing it because they want to lose weight, right? Which is great, you know, as a society as a whole, we definitely are in an obese situation with most of our population, but exercise can be so much more beneficial than just weight loss. It can relieve joint and muscle pain. It improves your bone density. It can improve the way you think and your attitude. It can be a great stress relief. So, you know, in this holiday season, as stress increases for whatever reason it may be, because you have to go hang out with family you don't want to hang out with, or maybe it's finances or whatever it is, that stress increases, exercise can be a great relief for that. And one of the biggest things that I hear about, and especially in this season, as an excuse and why we don't get our exercise in, is just because we don't have enough time. Well, you know, it doesn't take a lot of time. You don't have to have a full hour to dedicate to getting in an exercise program. It can be, you can get benefits from 15-minute bouts of exercise. So if you have 15 minutes in your day, instead of sitting on the couch and watching a TV show, get out and walk, get your kids out, you know, and move too. It's super important for them as well. Another tip I really like is, as you're out shopping for all those Christmas gifts, park in the furthest parking spot away. We're always trying to get up close. I know, especially here in Michigan, it's always cold, so I'm trying to get close, and I'm carting 3 kids in with me, but park further away. You're just going to get more steps added in that day when you do that. So, and another excuse I hear a lot is, well, I just don't have enough energy, you know, to get through my day. How am I going to have enough energy to exercise, right? But if you get physically active and you're fueling your body right, then you're going to actually get an increase in your energy. And it's really amazing what our bodies can do. And if your nutrition is poor, then your exercise is not going to be well. And, you know, it's just the other way too. If you are exercising without the nutrition part, they're just not going to equal out. They work synergistically together. And the more on point you are with your nutrition, the more on point your exercise is going to be. And that's actually going to boost your metabolism. So overall, you're just going to get a healthier picture there. So I have put together a quick workout that can be done anywhere with no equipment. And I will post it in our Facebook group. And if you're watching this recording and weren't in that group, get with the person that invited you, and they will be able to get it to you as well. So last thing I just want to leave you with is just start moving, no matter what it is, whether it's the exercise program I've written, whether you work with a trainer, whether you go to the gym, or you're just parking further away in the parking spot. Just get moving. Whatever exercise you're going to do, just do it.
Oh, Les, that's awesome. I love those tips for the 15-minute workout. I can't wait to do that. And so now Ninja Karen coming from Clarksville, Tennessee. I'm losing my ears. Come and
share when that happens.
About your 2 handy dandy tips.
Yeah, so I am covering tonight stress and sleep. I'm good at both of those. I can get stressed out. Anybody else? But I am good at sleeping. So I think that's why I got voted into this. So stress, okay, holidays can bring lots of stress, and we don't even always realize it. But, you know, whether you're the one that having to make the big meal, or I don't know if anybody else has this, but, you know, sometimes going to our families' homes can be really stressful. You know, I love my family, but part of it also is that I have 3 kids, and now they're off their normal schedule. So just that alone can bring some stress. Not sleeping in our own beds can cause some stress. And so, you know, one thing I like to do around the holidays is just find that quiet time to myself every single day. And when I'm traveling, try to do the best to keep my kids' routine close. I mean, I know it's going to be off, but the more you can stick to a routine, that will help with all the other things that are going on around the holidays. Sometimes also for stress reduction, it's limiting topics of conversation. That's like one of my biggest things with, you know, I go home and it's like, okay, A, B, and C. These are things that no matter if the words come up, I'm just going to zip my lips and use Alice's wonderful tip of connection. I want to be there to connect with them. That's what it's all about. It's not worth getting in an argument over some silly thing. So those are kind of stress things. And then another thing is, you know, like I personally do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of meditation. And you don't have to be a yogi to be able to breathe correctly. But I know a lot of my friends tell me they suffer from insomnia, and that's something I suffered years and years and years. So a couple of tips for sleep cycle, and this is not just the holidays, this is anytime, and I may get booed. However, one big rule in our family is there's absolutely no televisions in bedrooms. And the reason for that is just that, think about you're laying there in bed, you're watching TV, it's still on. What was the last thing that you watched? Well, if it was the news, it was probably gloomy and dreary and there was nothing good on it. And so that messes up your sleep cycle. Also electronics, which is hard for me. I know that this is something I do struggle with because sometimes I like to read, and I read on my iPad because it's got a Kindle app on it before I go to bed. And that blue light, you can change your settings, but really I try to have some quiet time with no electronics before I go to sleep. And then when I do that, I really sleep very, very well. I've gotten a good habit of shutting down my computer now a couple hours before I go to bed. And lastly is just some deep breathing exercises. If you have trouble going to sleep, I challenge you, I was kind of explaining this to the other ninjas, if you will take a deep breath in for 4 counts in your nose, and then hold it about 4 counts and exhale 7 to 8, do that continuously for about a minute. Don't do it right now because you'll fall asleep before we're done. But I have never found anyone that can do that longer than, say, a minute and a half. Typically, if you breathe like that for a full minute, I promise you, you're going to be very, very sleepy, and you'll have a great night's rest. That's what I got.
Those were awesome tips on stress relief, and I love the breathing. I started to do it, but then I started to get too relaxed. So I was like, I'm going to do that tonight, Karen. Well, Alice, can you share with us a little bit about you?
Yeah, well, something that when we were planning this, we were talking about, and I was actually kind of curious, and I'm about to get real with you guys, but I think that we can all do that. We're all friends. But I looked up a statistic about divorce rates rising after the holidays. And it said that after the summer and winter holidays, there's been an increase. And many of you probably know that a large cause of fighting is finances. And Krista kind of touched on this at the beginning. But I just wanted to share my story with you all. I'm not divorced and I don't plan to be, but finances has definitely been a subject between my husband and I. And I wanted to share how we have found some financial peace. And as many of you all know, we are involved with a company called Juice Plus. And we all love to help people get healthy. Thus, we're doing this. But 4 years ago, a friend of mine told me about this product. And she had already been kind of leading me along the way with some healthy decisions. And I loved the mission behind this company. It was to inspire healthy living around the world. And at that time, though, I was a nanny and I was making $600 a month. You heard that right. And my husband and I were cumulatively making about $1,400 a month, for real. And if you can imagine, we had a very tight budget and were stressed and had we had no kids at the time, but really we didn't know how we could ever afford to have kids. And so I started on Juice Plus, really kind of secretly hoping it would help with some fertility issues that I had been having. And Karen, hearing you talk, I wonder if some of it was stress related. But I just started flooding my body with a bunch of whole foods and hanging out with this amazing community of positive people. And my first goal was only to pay for my products, but it turned into a passion. And about a year into the business, I was able to pay our mortgage. And I will never forget the day that my husband saw that my paycheck came in. And he said, "Your paycheck saved our bacon." And we laugh about that now. We call it, like, of all the food choices, to call it bacon in this healthy community. It saved our garbanzo beans, I think. But anyway, we were just so grateful for that. And about 2 years into our journey, I was actually making 4 times the amount I was as a nanny. And if you do the math, well, you don't have to do the math. 4 times anything is more than what it was originally. But we were so grateful because we started to have options. I recorded an album. I'm a musician, and I got to record an album in like a real studio, a real band that I got to pay with real money. And I got to go on a tour and like all these options, but whoa, we were surprised when we found out that I was pregnant. And I could go on and on about what an amazing, healthy pregnancy I had. I'm so grateful for these awesome women that walked me through, literally, like these have been my friends for years that have walked me through having a healthy pregnancy. And Karen Richards, Ninja Karen, was actually with me on the day I had Josephine. And she was such an awesome support for me. And I wanted to share a little bit too about my recovery. I did a program called the Shred 10, which is basically eating really healthy. We can give you more details, or the person that connected you with can give you details, but it's just implementing some simple lifestyle tools that allowed me to have the less stress of being able to fit in my clothes after I had my child, and healing up awesome after I had my child. And so I didn't have to think about, buying a whole new wardrobe, except I did get this new shirt for tonight because it's really cool and it's holiday themed. But I am just so grateful for the lack of stress that having this business has provided for us. It's given us options. This summer, we're planning a trip to go to Paris, France, like not Paris, Tennessee, Paris, France. And we would have never really been able to dream about that without the help of, some generous donor. So I'm just so grateful for what we can do now because of the business that Juice Plus has provided for us. So if you love to inspire people to live a healthier life, and you don't have to be like, I don't even want to talk to you if you're like perfect. I am not perfect. I ate a grilled cheese today for lunch. I actually split a piece of cheese with the lady at Walmart. Don't judge. But I'm not perfect, but I do love to help people, and I love to walk alongside people. And if you love people and you have a servant's heart, you can do awesome at this. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to you, Krista, and I hope that I said enough and not too much.
I love what you shared, Alice, and I think we all of us ninjas, have a unique story of the finances and how it's really helped our families, from paying the mortgage to being able to afford tires when you happen to get 2 flat tires in 2 weeks, things like that, or finance your kids' college education. I mean, there's so many stories that are out there for hope with finances, and definitely through the holidays. Who could not use some extra cash when you are looking at doing all of these amazing holiday dinners? I mean, it costs money to buy food and to buy gifts and things like that. So thank you for sharing your heart with us, for sure. And Allison, Funky, I love your Christmas tree, and I would love for you to share with us tonight some of your thoughts as a ninja.
Yeah, well, I have to say, I feel incredibly privileged to be able to work with these amazing women every single day. And the thing that I take away from these women every single day is it doesn't matter what you have going on in your life. I have been able to walk through a lot of life with these women. We're talking pregnancies and diagnosis for kiddos, and diseases that we've had to deal with and overcome ourselves. And Ninja Krista is like amazing travel. She's like a traveling fool, y'all. She is always on the go and is raising, we've got kids of all ages. And we have a lot of passions. I love that in this business, within the Juice Plus company, it's multifaceted. It doesn't box anybody in based on their passions or their interests or the things that are important to them. And I think that what's really interesting is either does health, health or disease, it doesn't play favorites. And so everybody has the option to really work towards a healthier future for themselves and for their family, and that starts with prevention. So I have learned from these ninjas, and they continue to inspire me, and I always take notes when I talk to them because I got some good tips tonight, and I hope you did too, is that the best thing that we can do is the next right thing. We can always get into action. It's never too late. There's always an opportunity to kind of make that healthier next step. And so maybe for you, I'm going to kind of leave you with 3 options tonight in terms of things that maybe you want to be thinking about in terms of taking away from this time. And I'm also going to give you a teaser. You're going to want to listen till the end because we have possibly the most impactful piece of information to get you through the holidays at the very end. So stay tuned. So until we get to that little nugget, here's 3 options for you. So we really want to encourage you to make a simple change and to go into this holiday season thinking, this is the thing I'm really going to focus on. Maybe it's water. Maybe it is moving a little bit more. Maybe you want to do Leslie's 15-minute exercise thing every single day. How awesome would that be? How great would you feel going into January if you were doing that? Maybe it is just to really focus in on the connections. I am a very social person, but sometimes a good long season of that can get tiring. And so connecting with people one-on-one or connecting with people and really making those quality, that's a really healthy step that we can take for ourselves, is to have good boundaries and to have great relationships. A super healthy thing. Maybe we're just going to be really sure that we are prioritizing well enough so that we get enough sleep. And I have to tell you, all of those have been amazing things that I have done. But the number one catalyst for me making any of those other healthy steps within my life has been starting on the Juice Plus products. So I just want to let you know that the person who invited you to hear this information tonight wants you to have a happy, healthy holiday season. But they probably care about you enough to share this resource that we have found. And it's just a way to get more whole foods into our body every single day. It is the most affordable, simplest thing that I do for my family, and it has made a huge, huge difference in our lives. So pick one change. Pick one thing that you want to focus on. Maybe that's adding Juice Plus. Maybe you're already doing that, so you want to pick something else. But just pick one thing. That's kind of your first option. Second option is you could give yourself a little bit higher level of accountability. And we want to encourage you to take a bigger step for your health because we do believe that that prevention doesn't need to take a break. Like, we really do need to stay intentional with it. So maybe you want to pick a little higher level of intentionality and accountability for yourself. And we want to let you know that we are here to walk alongside of you. That program that Alice mentioned, the Shred 10, is a huge, amazing way to do it, to really give you some clarity about what you should be doing or what's the right thing. There's so many shoulds out there and so many things that can get really confusing. So this program has really helped us to make it super easy, and it's literally going to flood you with resources. So meal plans and all the recipes and shopping lists and all of that is done for you. So if that's something you want to do with the rest of the ninjas, that is like my secret tool to getting myself or keeping myself on track, is that Shred 10. Or kind of your third option, because we are all about community, is not doing that by yourself. Like, grab a couple buddies, because this is a time that we are all bustling around and there's lots of activity going on and we're surrounded by people. It can be very isolating and very lonely. And so we never want anybody to feel like that. Everyone has a really unique purpose here, and we want everyone to feel valued and to know that they're known and seen, and that other people find them valuable in relationship as well. And I cannot tell you the power of making healthy choices for yourself while you're surrounded with other people. So maybe what you could do is say, I want to make that healthy change with other people, or I want to do that shred with other people, or maybe I want to do that shred and this business with other people. But grabbing some buddies and doing this together, it sweetens up life so much. So we want to thank you guys for being here tonight, and we want to let you know that there's lots of little ways that you can sneak in some ninja-like moves into this holiday season, and that there are lots and lots of resources out there. We're going to fill up that Facebook event page with lots of resources for you guys, Pinterest boards and those workouts, and some more information about the shred as well. But we are perhaps going to give you the best tool that we could this evening. We're going to really, really quickly, maybe, and I'm saying maybe, like, hello, this girl right here. Maybe you've had a night or a lunch or a time during the holiday season that you have really gone after the, maybe it's the dancing, maybe it's the buffet, maybe it's the wine, who knows? Maybe you've had a rough night. So maybe you've had a rough New Year's at a time. So we're coming back at you to New Year's like a ninja in early January, and we want you to stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll even wait till January like a real ninja would. But perhaps there might be some time, friends, in between now and then when we get to see you again, that you're going to need to know, how can I get through the next day based on how much fun I had tonight? So all 6 ninjas are going to give you their secret recipe using the Juice Plus products of how we get through those evenings. So Alice Harden, or let's see, Becky Gilbert, you're unmuted. Tell us what your secret recipe is.
All right, my secret recipe. Should I overindulge? Should I overindulge? I like to take an extra green and a red. They're Christmas colors, so they're easy to remember. An extra green and red, which is the fruit and veggie, and 1 to 2 glasses of water at night before I go to bed. I try to take into consideration drinking at least 1 big pint of water throughout the night for every alcoholic beverage I may have. But before I go to bed, these babies with a big glass of water.
Krista Hawkins, you're up.
All right. My secret weapon are the 2 purple, the Vineyard capsules with coconut water, a big glass of coconut water. And I always make sure that I eat greens before I go out.
All right. Who's Les? You're up.
Yes. So I think about everything opposite of what you feel like doing. So you usually feel like doing nothing and you feel like eating grease, but no, shake, Vineyard, water, and move your butt.
Awesome. I love it. Alice, you're up.
Well, I follow Karen Richards' tips. I listen to whatever Karen tells me to do. She was the day of my babies. Whatever Karen does, I do. So I'm just going to tell you what I do at a party. Every drink that I have that may be alcoholic, I follow it with a glass of water. There's no other way. Like, you have to drink a water between each drink. Even if you just want to be like partying, drink a glass of water between each drink, and it'll slow you down and you'll feel so good.
And you will have to go to the bathroom, so you will be flushing those things out.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Karen Richards.
Well, I'm gonna give like 2. If you're going to reach for something at a party, stay in the clear. That's my holiday advice. So white wine, add some soda water or tonic, make it a spritzer, less calories. You can add in fresh fruit. Or you can take your complete shakes with, your soy milk or whatever, almond milk. You put it on the stove top and make it like hot chocolate. And that's a great alternative than these other things. But if I do overindulge, like Becky, I'm using the same colors. They're Christmas, but just like Krista, green is for go, red is for recovery. So I take 2 or 3 greens before I go and then the red afterwards.
I didn't know that that's what you did, so I'm lying. That's not what I do.
There might be more, but you never know. I mean, I have a lot of
like code red or something like, Alice, this is code red.
That's hysterical. Okay, well, to wrap us up this evening, I'm going to give you my secret recipe. And apparently mine stands for V, which means it was a very good night. So what I do,
I bet it was.
Apparently I need to powwow with the ninjas offline because I'm spending a lot more Juice Plus than they are. I don't know what I'm doing differently at these parties, but I'm glad I took notes tonight. So here's my secret recipe, guys. 8 of these bad boys, 2 glasses of water, a shake, and 4 Vineyards in the morning. Every time. Works like a charm.
Whoa.
My mom's on the call, guys. Sorry. Ninja Mama. That's her right there. So perhaps it was worthwhile to stay till the end. Make sure that if you're sharing this recording with friends that you have encouraged them to stay till the end as well. And if not, then you can always take your secret weapons with you to those parties and make some new friends. Those 3 new connections might need your help by the end of the night, guys. So we are wishing you guys a really, really happy, healthy holiday season. And just want to let you know that there's lots more resources, some more practical than others perhaps for you, on the Facebook event page, and we would love for you guys to share far and wide, so that we can have just a great next couple weeks as we're celebrating and getting to connect with friends and family. So thanks, guys. We'll see you in the new year like a ninja.
Happy Thanksgiving.